how many suggestions you can get from the very same staff, the very same workers, on reducing these costs. Once they understand what you're doing and to interpret it themselves, and it's not difficult. It's not rocket science. A bit of paper, photocopy machine, and some glue, right? And you can easily achieve a 10% savings or more from the very people you're informing in a very simple way. So do not underestimate staff awareness, reduce outside air infiltration, especially in our environment. I'll say more about air conditioning, but we seem to dispel the effect on your utility bill by the introduction of outside air to the internal areas that you air condition. And you can save, say, 10%. And this is conservative. Clean heat exchange transfer surfaces. How many of you regularly, and from our experiences in Jamaica, air conditioning units should be cleaned at least once per 3 months. Once per 3 months. Get a technician in if a good gardener is not there to be trained and protect your equipment, because a good gardener, we've trained gardeners in the hotel industry, in the villas, to clean air conditioning units. And by doing so, by just applying some dishwashing soap and water, you can reduce that same air conditioning operating cost, and this improve its life and reduce its maintenance cost by 15% and save money. So it's not difficult, it's not rocket science. And cleaning the heat transfer surfaces can save between 15 and 20% on your air conditioning bill. And of course, water heaters, the same thing. Fluorescent lamps with electronic ballast and high efficiency tubes. We'll discuss this later, but you can save 40% on your lighting bill by making these changes. And you can also, you can also effectively remove the refrigerant that you now use in your air conditioning systems to replace them with hydrocarbon refrigerants, which will save between 15 and 25% of your air conditioning bill. Now, air conditioning and refrigeration bills are your highest, as far as electricity use is concerned, your highest cost within industry. And looking at it and dealing with that will save you money. And power factor correction is another vital application of corrective measure, efficiency improvement measure that can make a big difference on your electricity bill. You're saving about 15%. This information, of course, is being provided to you on the CD that we will be giving you if you've not received them yet, but they'll be received. And of course, this just shows that there are several different types of refrigerants that are used in industry, but they can be replaced by hydrocarbon refrigerants. And the key thing with replacing refrigerants too, as far as hydrocarbon refrigerant change is concerned, is that there's also the big plus for the environmental benefits to go to other refrigerants, natural refrigerants. You can replace the Freon type refrigerants with hydrocarbon and eliminate the environmental negatives as it relates to the use of refrigerant. And at the same time, reducing your electricity bill in refrigeration and air conditioning by up to 30%. That's a big hit, and those have been proven. Take, for instance, a hydrocarbon refrigerant has better conductivity, and I won't go into too much of the technical details. It has less latent heat. The density is also, greater latent heat, and the density is also very small, so that refrigerant can be pumped throughout the refrigeration system at a lower pressure on the mechanical systems and less electricity consumption. So that is just displayed there to inform you. We did a test at PETCOM, and we connected a meter to the air conditioning unit, and that's the kind of performance difference you see, where the first graph, section of the graph, shows what the equipment was operated at, utilizing refrigerant 22. the second part of the graph, and the job was about a 1-hour job. The second part of the job shows what happens after you've changed out to another refrigerant without any mechanical change to the system. Just a drop out, drop in. Lighting conservation measures. We have time switches, occupancy sensors, photo switches, electronic ballast, high efficiency fluorescent tubes, retrofit with fluorescent lamp reflectors, compact fluorescent lamps. If you do not have these in your facilities, you are in trouble. If you have the alternative, you are in the least efficient mode rather than the higher efficiency mode. So think about them. Ask the technical persons if you're not technical, then ask the technical persons, do we have these in our facility? But these percentages are proven percentages in Jamaica, effected conservatively. We can convert the fluorescent lamps in our businesses, in our buildings, where some of the lamps that carry, the lamp fixtures that carry 4 tubes can be converted to 3-tube or 2-tube fixtures by installing, and I'll use this now. You can remove tubes, insert reflectors into the lamp fixture itself, and effectively reduce the amount of electricity used for lighting without compromising lighting levels. So look at this, where we have, generally it costs about $140 per year in terms of savings. No, it's about $140 US per year in terms of savings. It's greater now because I produced this about 2 years ago when the electricity bill was, of course, significantly reduced compared to today. And there's also savings in air conditioning as well. When you reduce lighting, electricity consumption within an environment, an air conditioning environment, you also reduce the load on the air conditioning unit. Because 90% of that lighting energy will have to be removed from the space by the air conditioning unit. And that, in effect, requires energy to remove that heat. So you get a double whammy there. You get a reduction in lighting levels, in lighting energy consumption, and you get a reduction in air conditioning electricity consumption as well, by just attacking lighting. I say lighting is the scapegoat of energy conservation efforts, because generally, especially you who are owners and managers, your staff might come to you and say, by the way, boss, how come you say you want to cut costs and I saw your lights on when you're out of office? And the same staff might very well have a refrigerator or an air conditioning space open, which consumes significantly more electricity. But what do we focus on? And generally, even without answering that question, when we do start our energy conservation effort, what do we focus on first? Lighting. It has, therefore, its psychological effect. But guess what? If you deal with lighting alone, especially in facilities that have other motors and air conditioners and so forth, you might get disappointed. You might be disappointed. Because when you get your electricity bill, at the next month, when you spend money, you say, my gosh, I've spent money. I've done all of these lighting efficiency improvements that we should do. But if you haven't taken a systems approach to saving energy, then the light bill will appear as if it's not moving. Generally, it appears in the bottom line, however, over time, but not on the monthly effect. So I warn you as well that sometimes you might implement an energy conservation measure or an energy efficiency improvement and anxiously await the next bill to see if you have done well. And when